The two ordinary hosts of this podcast are not professionals on parapsychology, extraterrestrials, cryptozoology, nor would they describe themselves as religious or prone to superstition. They'd also like to make it known that this show is not intended for children or those with sensitive sensibilities. Please listen at your own discretion. And remember, the truth is often anecdotal.
It's recording now.
Okay. Hey, what comes to mind when I say the words small, winged, magical, cunning, mischievous but friendly, helpful and harmful?
A winged hot dog.
Well, that might be the name of the episode, but I was actually talking about fairies, the actual subject of today's episode. Hello, listeners. I am Mr. R.
And I'm Mr. X.
A pair of normal dudes
Reading paranormal stories.
I almost forgot how the show went.
It's been a minute since we recorded.
Yeah, it's been I mean, for us at least, I don't know how spread out the episodes have been. But fairies, how do you feel? What's going on with fairies? How do you feel about fairies?
Oh man, I have the story. I have the little story about fairies. How old? I must have been like 20 years old. But when I was working at the movie theater, one day I was working a register, and at the end of my shift I was called, or maybe it was the beginning of the next shift, but I was called into the office and they were like, "Hey, we have a write-up for you. You were $20 short on your till." And I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Okay." They're like, "Yeah, we just need you to be more careful in counting your money." I was like, "Sure, all right." I signed my write-up, went out, worked the register that night, and then the next day I got pulled again, and they were like, "Hey, there was $60 missing from your till this time." And I'm like, "Seriously?" Because I made an effort to count like the money as adequately as I could after that first write-up. And after the second one, I was like, "Okay, I'll definitely am gonna make sure that I'm counting this stuff right." I didn't work a register for a couple days after that, but then sure enough, like it was literally just the third time I worked a register, they pulled me again and they're like, "Hey, you're short $80 this time."
$80?
Yeah. And they're like, and because it's 3 write-ups, we have to let you go. And I was like, seriously? But I was just kind of like, man, there's no way. Like I was diligently counting every single transaction. Like I shouldn't have been short at all. But I had to leave that job and little motorcycle. And I worked at a Subway sandwich shop with one of the worst bosses I've ever had in my life.
I don't think I knew that, actually. I don't think I knew where you went.
Well, it was, I only did that for 3 months, and I couldn't stand it anymore. So I finally went back to him, to the movie theater, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way that I'm rehireable?" And they're like, "Absolutely. You can start as soon as you want." And so, I went back to work there, and there was a manager that I'm not sure if she was still working there or if she left at that point. But I remember asking if they ever figured out what happened with that money stuff, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the manager who was counting the money, she probably had something to do with it." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Well, after you left, registers were still coming up short, and so we finally had to sit her down and ask, 'Hey, registers are coming up short when you count them. What's going on?'" And this woman, I wish I could remember her name, but she was like, "It's the fairies. Like, the fairies are taking the money when I'm not looking in the office." And it just so happens that the money counting room in that building didn't have a camera. So there's no way to tell, right? But
I mean, we can't prove the fairies didn't do it.
Right. She swears that when she would get up and like walk out of the cash counting room for whatever reason, fairies would run in there, steal the money and her shoes, and would run off with them and disappear them. And I was so mad when I found that out.
Yeah, dude.
I worked at a Subway for 3 months. Okay, that was I was pretty livid. But
Were
it's
you
also
a-
funny, right?
Were you an artist?
Was I an artist?
Yeah, were you a sandwich artist?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's what they called it.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? There's only one position at a Subway. You make sandwiches and you cut the stuff
there's
in the back.
got to be like a locational, like a district manager or something.
Dude, there was a manager there who was a nice guy, but the dude who owned the building, he was like this Indian guy. He was young 20s. He probably wasn't
Okay.
much older than me, but he clearly, from what I understand, his parents bought the business for him because they wanted him to get out and do something. And he realized soon after hiring me that he shouldn't have hired me because he wasn't making the money to keep me on. And so he literally was like, he pulled the manager aside and he was like, hey, I need you to let him go because I shouldn't have hired him. And so the manager comes up to me and he's like, hey, he wants me to let you go. This was like 2 days in. And he's like, but I kind of hate this job, so I'm just going to quit. So the manager quit and I got to stay on. But that guy was also he was making $30,000 a year salary, but working like 80 hours a week.
That's
So,
crazy. This
yeah,
was,
that guy was
by the way,
getting
for
screwed.
listeners, this was in Texas.
This was in Texas in like 2013, 2014.
Had to
So,
be within that time, yeah. Well, dang. I will say you have told that ferry story before,
Yes.
but the
Yeah.
subway information is new. So we're not robbing anyone. And
Well,
that's
it's on
good.
theme, right?
It is on theme. That's true.
And this might be someone's first episode.
I can't say that I have any fairy stories of my own. I will say that Jenna blames a lot of stuff on fairies. Jenna is my roommate. She loses everything. And there are things, I will admit, that have gone missing or have been misplaced, like just like taken from one location, put in a different location, pretty blatantly with us still in the room. And in my head, I don't know, I don't pay attention a lot. So like maybe, a cat did something or, Jenna just picked it up and put it down somewhere else. But there are a lot of times where, it's easy to blame fairies for things that go awry.
Yeah. You guys also had the little man, right?
We do, yeah. We've seen him less and less, but he'll pop up every now and then. Still just kind of a detailless shadow, but small, very small.
Yeah, how tall would you say?
About the size of a Coke bottle. That sounds really specific.
No. You misspoke there and said a coat, and I was like, "Well, that's pretty big." But then you adjusted
Sorry.
and was like a Coke bottle, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was more of what I was imagining."
A coat, a Coke bottle, a thumbtack,
So it's definitely the cats.
Oh, surely, yeah. Well, that's funny. We also see and hear cats that aren't the ones that we know live here.
How can you even tell that?
Well, we know where they are, right? Like if they're in the room with us, and then one of us goes to the bathroom, we come out of the bathroom, where we hear like the jingling of a collar upstairs, but both of the cats are in one of our rooms. It's like, oh, okay. And this could be, and like this would honestly just be like one of my responses if it was a story we read, is that criminals are getting so smart that when they break and enter houses, they wear animal collars as a kind of gamble to blend in with the atmosphere of a house.
Yeah, to confuse the owners, right?
Yeah.
If they notice cat memorabilia just lying around, they'll
Yeah,
adapt.
and to throw them off if they're like called out, they go, meow.
Meow. What's this? Okay, we won't get into it. We're already running a little long on the intro.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and go first?
Let's do it. Let's see. That's my first one here. Both of my stories are relatively short. I'll just say that up top. This was posted in r/paranormal as of 5 years ago by, Zivix. ZYVYX. Zivix. The title is, "My girlfriend thinks a fairy has moved into our house. Unexplained is the flare. We found really small luggage and suitcases all around with little furniture." Anyway, it reads, "Over the past couple days, a lot of food has been going missing / being moved. First, an entire package of hot dogs disappears 5 days ago. Then, the package of confectioner sugar ends up on the counter while we were in the living room without us noticing anything yesterday. Open floor plan makes the kitchen and living room basically the same thing. Then we put some leftover pizza in the fridge, only to come home to it on the counter with the last slice having a smaller slice cut out of it. And today, while we were in our living room, something made toast. What? Something made toast without anyone knowing. We have an open floor plan in our house." Thank you, said it again. "And being in the living room and the kitchen are basically the same thing." Are we going over this again? "And not noticing something happening is insane. My immediate go-to was that someone was living in the house without our permission, without your knowing, by hiding in the walls or the attic. I searched the entire house multiple times and found no evidence to support it though. I'm very spooked. I am Roman Catholic. I don't know how to feel about this supernatural element possibly being in my life. TLDR, some entity keeps eating and moving my food. I'm scared."
Yeah,
Mr.
that
X
definitely sounds like someone living in your house.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to say, like, what's your immediate response to this? And, like, what was it? The roof, the final nail in the coffin here was something made toast without anyone knowing.
Yeah.
Did you find the finished toast, like, in the toaster? Or do you, because if you're smelling it, that's a whole other problem, right?
See, this sounds like someone living in the house, which is scarily pretty common, I guess. But why not wait till they're not home to start making stuff? You know, like someone's gonna smell toast. They're gonna be worried they're having a stroke, and then make sure that there's not toast cooking in the kitchen, and then they're gonna find your toast, and you're not gonna get to eat the toast. If you're gonna be living in someone's house with them, like I don't know, be smarter about it. Jeez.
Hey folks, welcome to the very first episode of our brand new podcast titled "How to Live in Someone Else's House Without Them Knowing." If you're gonna live in someone else's house without them knowing, definitely eat foods that like chips. Like, that's too loud. They're gonna notice this. Don't eat anything that is gonna leave a smell or crumbs or anything wet. Anything that you need to keep in the refrigerator, and don't eat any of their food. It's so important to not leave a literal crumb trail. Okay.
Well, at first, they're being what's the word? Considerate, right? They just cut a smaller piece out of the last slice of pizza. They weren't going to take the whole thing.
I do want to know how small a piece they ate, though.
Yeah, were they saying like like a single bite of pizza, or was it just like a full length slice that was just smaller? But then maybe just don't toast the bread. Like, just eat the bread.
Just
if
eat
you're
some
hungry,
bread.
Just eat the bread, man.
If you grew up as poor as I did, you would put butter on bread, and that's meal. I forgot a word in that sentence. I couldn't afford the whole sentence.
Couldn't afford a toaster?
No, we had a toaster. As a kid, it was just easier to have what was that stuff called? It was like a spray butter. It came in a little plastic bottle.
Sure. I can't believe it's not butter kind of stuff.
Hold on, I'm looking at some right now. I can't read the bottle. It's too small. Yeah, I can't believe it's not butter, the original that came in the spray bottle. I would spray butter on a piece of bread, not toast, and I would just eat that. And I was good for another 2 hours playing Animal Crossing.
Wait, this was okay. I was about to say, wait, was this in Philly? But no, I remember you
No,
saying that as a kid. Because I know you guys had a toaster
not the newest
in Philly.
Animal Crossing.
Okay, you want to get into some comments here?
Yeah, let's look at these comments here. Fumbles the 12 says, "You got a person living in your attic," or something like that. "I think the only way to find them is to loudly tell jokes and listen for laughter." That's a pretty good idea. That would get me if I was. Rule number 2 of how to live in someone else's house without them knowing is to wear earmuffs at all times. That way you're not tricked by any auditory stimulation or reactionary responses like Red Robin, yum, right? Or listening to the Friends theme and clapping along in the appropriate time.
But then how would you hear the footsteps when they're coming?
Well, no. That's only when you're alone, right? Only when you're hiding should you wear those earmuffs. Because if you're in hiding mode, you shouldn't be moving at all.
That's fair.
Yeah. Zivix responds to this and says, "I think this as well. Wait, I think this as well. I've searched the entire fucking house, though. I can't find anything." Let's see. Those damn hot dog fairies. Whoa. Sorry. I'm Dancing with a Demon posted, "Those damn hot dog fairies got you too? Shake my head. Always buy 2 packs." That's funny because earlier in the episode, you referred to fairies as winged hot dogs.
Yeah, and that's still how I'm imagining them in this sentence. But I'm sure what they mean here is that they're just fairies that steal hot dogs. The OP does respond to that with, "Apparently the fairies like junk food? ?
If that's true, I'm a fairy. And I'm living in your house without you knowing.
Are you the fairy that's tormenting Jenna?
Yeah, it's just me. I'm gaslighting my roommate. I'm just moving stuff constantly.
It wouldn't be hard.
That's so funny. Yeah, that'd be a pretty funny bit until she, loses her mind and lights the house on fire.
Stabs you in your sleep.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Drama and a headache, which is all under lowercase letters, so it's kind of hard to read. Says, "So in order to truly debunk paranormal and or potential unknown roommate scenarios, what you'll want to do is to hook up a discrete camera of some kind. Since a lot of the activity is happening in your kitchen, maybe put it over your fridge or wherever you can easily disguise it." Zivix responds to this and says, "It's just the 2 of us in the house." Yeah, Zivix, that's what we're talking about. There's a whole other party that isn't in these posts, right? So,
someone did respond to that with, "As far as you know."
Yeah. As far as you know. Zivix says, "You're right. When I can work again, When I can work again, I'm going to buy a camera to hide." Wait.
Did you post this story?
If they're not working, and this is assuming they're not working and just staying home all day, there's virtually no time other than when they're asleep to get around the house, right?
Yeah. That'd be way harder. Maybe that's why they're just making toast while they're home. So that thread does go on a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the next one, somebody, TKX421 says, "Cameras are pretty cheap these days." To which the OP responds with, "I'm a musician that hasn't really worked in 2 months because apocalyptic plague." So this was obviously 5 years during COVID.
Yeah.
Which is even worse. So that means this person is being quarantined inside your walls and still trying to hide from you.
You know what? There is something to be said about someone who is, desperate enough to stay in someone else's walls, but polite enough to quarantine away from you.
Yeah, they're keeping their distance.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not fairies.
Distancing inside your own house. I'm going to go ahead and say not fairies. And if it is fairies, I want to see how many it takes to operate a pizza cutter.
Oh, wait, here we got a sensical comment here before we move on. From Skag Whistle. It just says, "Sounds like carbon monoxide poisoning." Check your furnace and make sure you have a working CO detector.
That's pretty good.
Reasonable. All right. Well, I guess let's move on to my first story.
Rule number 3 of living in someone else's house without them knowing is go ahead and replace all of their carbon monoxide detectors.
Yeah, all their CO detectors.
It's also for your safety, right? You're living in the walls. There's only so much oxygen you can breathe up in there. So,
yeah. All right. My first story is going to be the possible Fae encounter.
oh, okay.
Now, I will say, nothing happens in the story. The story is kind of boring. I mostly picked it for the comments. So
Okay.
so this is from the Paranormal Encounters subreddit, posted 2 years ago by Sweet Lorelei, titled Possible Fae Encounter. I used to work on a hospital campus at a place where patients receiving treatment stayed. It was like Ronald McDonald House, but for adults. I usually worked second shift, and there were a little bit of woods around the place and a walking path. After turning down the lights and just having a lamp on at the front desk, the place became a little eerie. As long as we checked patients in and out and answered the phones, we were allowed to sit there and read. Now, I should mention that I've had a few creepy experiences there and consider myself somewhat of a sensitive. On this particular night, I had been reading about the Fae and people's encounters. I'd also been learning about opening up my third eye. I like to read about all kinds of things. I'm a spiritual but skeptical too. Well, it was getting to be close to the end of my shift, and I started getting ready to leave. As I was walking out the automatic doors, nobody around, I got the distinctive feeling someone was walking behind me. So much so that the hair on the back of my neck stood up. As I got to my car, I turned around to see if someone was there, and there was no one. I then heard a high-pitched giggle from the bushes. I got goosebumps all over and got the hell out of there. End of story.
Now, you did say that nothing happened in this.
Yes.
One thing did happen, and it was the high-pitched giggle. So I expect an apology.
Now, would you consider a giggle in a bush to be a payoff to your little climax
it is a
of rushing
setup,
to your
though.
car?
It is a setup, and I think we said this in earlier episodes. Folks, if you're gonna lie on the internet, lie better. Just make it more interesting.
So one of the reasons why I picked this story was, like I said, because of the comments, but that was another thing. Like, the other stories I was reading were either like the one you read, where people were contributing fairies to something that could have an explanation.
Yeah.
I mean, yours has a terrifying explanation, but it was just stuff that clearly was like, I don't think this happened. But yeah, like I said, the story or the comments in this one really got me. Some of them were also just as non-eventful. Like this first comment right here from My Wolfhound Smile. They said,
Okay.
The summer I turned 4, my family was living in a rural area in Indiana, and my parents always put in a good-sized vegetable garden. My mother said I had been out playing and running in the back door, screaming, "Come see the people in the garden." My mom stopped what she was doing and ran outside thinking someone was raiding our garden. I guess that happens a lot in Indiana. She questions me about what they looked like and which way they'd gone. I was so excited I could hardly make sense, but the conversation stopped cold when I told her that they were very tiny people. I don't really remember what they looked like, but I do remember there were at least 3, and they were not quite as tall as the cabbage plants. And I remember crying and trying so hard to make her believe me. She told me I was imagining things and then just ignored me. But she said by fall, she began to think there was something really wrong with me because I spent so much time circling the garden or just sitting in the grass staring at it. We moved to the city the next spring, and I never saw any little people again. That was sad. Someone did respond to that comment. Lopsided Courage 327 said, "You should connect with these beings. Again, clearly, they love you."
Oh.
To which I say, what?
That's nice.
I mean, she moved to the city when she was a child. How is she supposed to go back and reconnect with these things?
So smaller than a cabbage, probably would you say perhaps the size of a Coke can? Coke bottle? I keep changing my answer. It's a Coke bottle.
A Coke bottle. The
Yeah.
glass bottles or the plastic bottles?
The plastic, specifically the tall ones that you can get at like a Dollar General for like $2.
Oh, so like a liter.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. I think that original commenter does respond with, I've had many other experiences, but not another like this one. I spent 32 years working in 3 different hospitals.
Wow.
A good deal of that on the evening and night shifts because of childcare logistics. I would estimate that maybe a quarter of hospital workers are sensitive enough to experience something once in a while, though you learn not to talk about it openly, and most folks are so busy they just don't notice it.
Yeah, you want to keep your job, you maniac.
I've only had one visual encounter and not a single auditory encounter, but I have been touched, felt my clothing tugged, felt columns of coldness, seen things move on their own, and once had a door slam in my face, a door with hydraulic closer, which should have made that impossible. I've also known several people who simply quit rather than work the evening and night shifts. I don't think there's any less activity during the day, but it's so busy in a hospital that people simply don't register it. At night, though, it is quieter and there are less distractions. I've been startled many times, but was only once genuinely scared enough to yelp and run down a hallway in tears like a little girl.
Can we hear about those moments?
Well, I don't think they're attributing that to fairies. I think they just mean any
okay.
kind of paranormal activity.
All right. That's a good episode idea, though. Hospitals?
Oh, hospital hauntings? Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to podcast the Morbid podcast, which is just a true crime podcast. They go over true crime cases, but they do this thing called listener tales, which is a lot like what we do, but it's submitted by their listeners, and they're a lot more well written than what we choose
that would be
for
nice.
this podcast. But yeah, you do hear a lot of stories about nurses working at night. Let's see, the second comment here from Casanova 007 says, "Be careful, the Fae are not your friend. If you end up with them, do not eat or drink what they give you. You could be gone 7 years or 77 years.
What do you mean?
By the time you come back, everyone in your life will be dead. It's not worth it."
What do you mean?
I'm going to tell you now.
What do you mean? What?
This thread does not clear it up. So someone named Music Girl Canada responded to that with, "I've heard it said that those who treat with them with respect and those who show them hospitality will come to no harm. Never encountered any myself, but responding with humility and goodwill shall be my policy if I ever do." In parentheses here it says, "I've also heard it said that you should not eat or drink anything they offer you. I once met a witch in England, very nice lady and very wise, who told us to stay away from the wild hunt should we see them. Noted." To which Casanova 007 responds, "The leader of the wild hunt was seen riding his hog in a 4chan tree cam a while back."
What?
Okay, let me try that again. "The leader of the wild hunt was seen riding his hog in a 4chan tree cam a while back. He had a 6-foot spear and a bow and arrow on his back, but he looked like a mantis humanoid."
What the fuck are we talking about right now?
I have no idea, but this is literally why I picked this story.
That's great. I don't want to say crazy. That's not sensitive of me. But like, what a wild thing to just post on the internet with full confidence.
It's honestly, it's the most wild thing since the aliens in the rental car story.
Oh yeah.
Which listeners, if this is your first episode, go back and listen to the episode "Aliens in a Rental Car."
Was that a vehicle, or was it like a car themed?
That was
episode?
the car themed episode.
Yeah.
Random theme, but good stories. Okay, let's see. Another comment here from Whiskey Femme said, "I've had similar experiences, which always made me feel a little silly since out of all paranormal entities, the good neighbors feel like the least likely to exist from a scientific standpoint. But I used to have to walk home from my job at night and would quite often feel like I was being watched, heard giggling, and branches snapping. Every now and then, my roommate would walk to my job and walk home with me. He wouldn't hear anything like that on the way there, but would hear and feel the same on our way back. My theory always was that it was because I was more sensitive to things. If they noticed that I noticed them, and as a result, started acting out. I've had to walk home late at night before from different jobs to different apartments and never felt the same kind of feeling. And there wasn't anything particularly dangerous about that area, so it's not like I had other anxieties making me paranoid. Yeah, I used to when we lived in Colorado Springs, I worked nights and would walk home.
You walked a lot.
Yeah, but I specifically walked. It would have been like around 10 p.m. to get to work through a neighborhood, and I would walk back around 4 a.m. So it was dark there and back, and it always felt, I don't know. There's something about walking through a suburban neighborhood that feels a lot creepier than like walking through a
like
city,
a wooded area, or
anything like that. Because I've when we lived in Philly, I used to walk in the middle of the night across town, and the only thing I was worried about was running into cops. But this neighborhood, it felt weird, mostly because all the houses had Ring cameras, and I was
okay,
man. So I'm definitely being watched as I walk, and it would make me feel weird because I'm like, how creeped out would these people be if they get like an alert in the middle of the night and they just see somebody walking past their house, you know?
They just see some sketchy Puerto Rican walking down the street.
Man, what was that movie? Employee of the Month with Dane Cook and Zach
I never
Shepard.
saw it. I know what you're talking about, though.
There's that line, because Zach Shepard's character, his sidekick is the dude who plays...
Did you say Zach Shepard?
Dak Shepard. His sidekick in the movie is the guy who plays Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh,
and
yes.
There's a scene where they break into a house and they hear somebody coming, and the guy, the Mexican actor, he pulls out a switchblade, but nothing happens in the scene. And then once they're out of danger, Dak Shepard turns to him and he's like, "I thought you said you were Mexican, not Puerto Rican." And I was like, "Oh." But no, I remember one time I was walking
Listeners
back.
in Philly will enjoy this joke a lot.
Yeah, but I was walking home and I was listening to a podcast, and I got the sense that somebody was watching me, and out of nowhere I heard like a snap, and I like quickly darted to look over to my left, and there was just like a group of deer hanging out in somebody's yard, and I was like, oh. Really freaked me out though.
Pardon me?
Let's see if there's any other interesting comments on here before we move on.
Oh, I have one.
Oh yeah, go for it.
From, I don't know how this could be said. Acanthocephala number 2784. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's how that's pronounced. Says, we cannot see beings of nature with our 3D eyes yet, and humans smell very badly. Beings of nature run away from us.
To which
Okay.
Complex Captain here responds with a yeah and skull emoji.
Then hooded angel sinner says, I've heard this too, LMAO. I'm Mayan.
in parentheses there, yeah.
Yeah. What?
It's the same reason why sharks don't like actually eat people. It's because they don't like the taste of us.
Right. And they don't have hands, so like how can they like check us out other than take a big old chomp?
Yeah.
We cannot see the beings of nature with our 3D eyes yet. Very aspirational.
That's they say that with a lot of conviction, right? Like they know this for a fact. They've done a lot of studying. One more.
It's also
comment
scary
before
to
we
know
move
that
on.
like we'll change enough to see it eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Oh my God, what's the name of the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes? Sir.
Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah. He definitely believed in fairies. So-
Did he really?
Oh yeah, yeah. What was the name of that hoax? Uh,
Oh, the one with the picture that was.
Yeah, the one with the little
fraudulent?
girls who cut out the little pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously cutouts. You could tell now, but they borrowed their dad's camera and they took pictures of little fairy cutouts, and they literally convinced this author that they were real. Even though years later they literally said that they just faked it.
Yep.
Here, one more comment before we move on. From Complex Captain 5923, it just says, when I was young, I thought I saw a phoenix at my granny's house.
Hey, that's not what we're talking about here, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you. You're really lending some credence to the sightings, I guess. Okay, let's move on to your next story here.
Yes. I think it's called Real Fairy Encounter. This was posted in r/The Truth Is Here, which I had to follow this Reddit, this subreddit, because of this post. r/The Truth Is Here as of 2 years ago by Champion Flimsy 6439. It is flared with picture/evidence. But I don't see that. I don't see where the evidence is /picture, so that's a shame. It says, "Hi everyone." I love it when Reddit posts begin with like a greeting. That's so funny to me. I don't know why. "Hi everyone. I wanted to share my experience with a fairy when I was a child. I'm currently 19. It's a good sign. And all my life, I've been obsessed with fairies. Another great sign. As a kid, I read books about them, researched them, and left offerings out to them in my backyard. And one time I saw one with no doubt. I was about 9 or 10 years old. Now you say no doubt, but you didn't. You said 9 or 10 years old. And I was at my cottage. This cottage was about 3 hours north of Toronto. The cottage has a huge forest in its backyard, and I was alone, waiting at the top of my stairs leading into the forest. Suddenly, a tiny creature flew up to my face. I can't fully picture it, but I know it was mainly brown with long limbs and wings. It had a human-like face, and it made a motion with its hand, saying, 'Come here,' or 'Follow me,' and then it flew off towards the front of my cottage. I've had other smaller supernatural experiences at this cottage, but this one changed my life, or solidified my belief in fairies. And even now, almost 10 years later, I still don't doubt it. Let me know if you guys have any other similar experiences, and thank you for reading." And then there's a couple emojis here. One is a fairy, and the other one is a heart.
I'm going to go ahead and say what they saw was a dragonfly.
Not a lot of dragonflies out here in Colorado. I used to see them all the time in Texas. I don't know if I guess I can't speak to it, but if there are any dragonflies in northern Canada, or I don't know where. I guess Toronto.
Yeah, it's probably kind of cold. How long did they say? 3 hours north of Toronto. That would be a few hundred miles. It could be cold up there. Toronto's like in the same area as Buffalo, New York, which does get pretty cold. But I've seen dragonflies in that area of New York. I've seen dragonflies here where I live too, but I don't know. It's all brown and it's fluttering like a fairy. Yeah, I'm just gonna guess you saw a really big dragonfly.
Now it would still be pretty amazing if a dragonfly flew up to your face and then gestured to you to say, like, "Come on, let's go this way."
Well, if there was a lot of mosquitoes at the time, which I'm guessing during the summer there might have been, it could have just been chowing down. Could have been having a good time on its own.
Let's see.
That's my theory.
I live on the sea, commented. Says, "Beautiful encounter. I'm reading it like this because this is how I think this person talks.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful encounter. When I was very young, there was a certain spot in the woods near my home where the fairies lived. I would sit there on a tree root and watch and listen to them for hours sometimes. I remember helping one get up on top of a mushroom once so he could tell the other something important. But I don't know what it was. I don't speak fairy. Sorry, that was me. I didn't know I didn't know that other people couldn't see them. And one day my friend came over and I brought her to watch the fairies with me. She said she couldn't see them, and I couldn't either, ever again after that day.
I really don't want to make fun of these people.
No,
like,
we can't
too
do that.
harshly. But a part of me wants to say, well, surely you stopped taking the meds that day, huh?
Surely. What kind of mushroom was this you said that you helped it on?
Oh, yeah. If you're touching the mushrooms, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's happening?
Bald Chihuahua says, well, that's a bummer. Rai Koroshia Shia says, it sucks when other people's reality overrules your own. Hey, that's like a really harsh comment. Final username
does.
Bismal says, I saw a fairy once and I could see it. What? I saw a fairy once and I could see it, but the person who was with me could not. I've read other stories of a person in a group being able to see something that others in the group cannot. Good input.
What does that mean?
He's read stories where one person sees something and the rest of the group can't see it. All about perspective.
Right here, Thick Astronaut. Fun username. Says, that's so cool. I also had an interest in fairies when I was very young and even got a book about them, but was never lucky enough to see one personally. Though I live in a major metropolitan area, so maybe they're just not very common around me. To which OP says, that could definitely be possible because I also live in the city and only experienced this when I was away from people and with nature. Maybe that's why you and Jenna seem to have like such a heavy experience.
Oh, true.
With the Fae in your, because you guys are
no
closer
one lives
to nature.
here.
Yeah. I technically live in Denver, but I literally live right on the border of Denver, and I live on the border of Denver and like 3 other towns, one of which is just a bunch of mansions where like really rich people live. Like I think Peyton Manning owns a house over there, and then there's the tech center area, which is like its own little mini city, and like another little village that's nice houses and whatnot. Like fucking too expensive to buy, but it's still pretty populated around here, but it's a little more spread out. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen any fairies running around, and I go for walks every morning, so
That's because you're not looking for them, dude.
yeah, after this episode I'll start looking.
And I'll go
try
ahead
not
and
to
say
confuse.
it right now. I'm sure there's parts of Denver you can find lots of fairies. Moving
I'm
on.
making these jokes. Oh, okay. Before we move on, the comment here from witty username 1717 says, "Did you follow it? What happened after?" To which OP said, "I didn't. I was kind of shocked and I can't fully remember what happened after, but I know at some point I told my mom about it and wrote a detailed description in a journal I had."
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Well, shit.
Well, oh, wait. Hold on. Final username Bismal also commented like a separate comment. They said, "Let me know if you guys have any other similar experiences." They're quoting from the original story. And they say, "I saw what I believe is a fairy in suburban North Carolina when I was in my mid-20s. And OP says, "OMG, care to elaborate?" To which he says, "Sure. I think this will be the last time I share this story." Oh, thanks.
I
We're
keep
getting it on this
weird
episode.
looks.
They appeared in my room as a small, flat-chested, androgynous woman, about 8 inches tall and glowing with a soft focused light.
You can't say androgynous and woman.
I got the sense that they'd revealed themselves to me intentionally and was able to make themselves invisible or intangible. What? Or near intangible. According to their own will. According to their own will.
Okay.
They floated slowly across my room before disappearing in a way that doesn't really bear talking about to me.
What? No,
What?
talk about it.
Okay. I had been in the middle of a conversation with my mother at the time, and when I looked back to her, she said, "What?" with a tone implying she had in fact not seen the small luminous woman who just appeared and disappeared over 30 seconds. To which OP says, "Wow, thank you so much for sharing. This is such an incredible story, and you are so lucky to have witnessed that."
I have a few problems with that critique, but we can move on.
Okay, yeah. We're getting close to an hour here now. So let's move on to my last story.
Yeah.
This one is from the Paranormal subreddit, posted by Violet Ram 6 years ago, and it's titled "Help with a Flirty Fae." Now, after flirty, there's a question mark in parentheses, implying that they don't know if this fae is actually flirty or not, but they're just not sure. It's flared with encounter. So, I bike to and from school. I take a small, pretty trail that has a river, and there's a lot of critters and plants. I knew there were fae that lived there, and I was always super respectful to the plants and animals. Fast forward a few months. I was riding and saw a shadow of a tall figure, long hair, masculine. Fast forward again, I'm riding my bike and I feel like this warm embrace from the back. I felt very hot all of a sudden, and I stopped and looked around. They don't elaborate past that. Recently, I was riding to school and there was a slender, tall male with pale skin, somewhat stubbly, and had long blonde hair. He was wearing purple. I couldn't stop staring at him, and I made eye contact with him, I think. I was fiddling with some white sage, too, that grows on the trails. Anyways, I was riding by, and I couldn't stop staring. I was so drawn to him, I almost crashed. That one person had the very same energy as the 2 other incidents. I worked with fae, and they somewhat like me well. Oh my god. This has to be like a teenage girl.
I'm looking at their profile right now because I need to know if they were going through puberty when writing this.
Yes. Okay. Where is it? I've worked with the fae, and they somewhat like me. Well, they act in a positive manner towards me. I don't know if this fae likes me. I'm in a relationship too. Also, sorry, this seems like a mess. Thinking about the incident makes things fuzzy.
Yeah, makes me feel tingly in my downstairs.
I just don't know what to do, and I need help. Okay? End of story. This one also had interesting comments. I was really hoping for something a little more detailed in this story, which I didn't get. But let's see. One of the comments here from Team Gingersnap says, "Do not fuck him, on God." Even if they like you.
Hey, I swear, if you fuck that fairy in the woods.
I say, even if they like you, they'll never be like us regular mortals and always have their own motivations.
Oh, that's so funny.
Stormwing Zero responds, "Same could be said about any other race of beings out there, really." Wow, that almost took a turn.
Yeah. Maybe say something other than race, huh? Species? Species is probably better.
Be they living creatures or spiritual entities, 2 different creatures don't think the same. Smiley face. To which Team Gingersnap says, "Sure, but I was purposefully trying to avoid talking shit about Fae. The known hussies and pranksters of the non-mortal world."
Excuse me?
To someone named Imaginary Stop, I responded to that with "No good, goddamn fae fuckers." That just sounds like a slur, honestly.
Yeah. Like, oh man,
Yeah, goddamn fae fuckers. You know what I'm talking about. They always come into gas stations and they're loud and they're always eating potato chips and fae fuckers. And...
So I was trying to be as vague as possible, so I wasn't actually describing a real culture of people.
Let's see. Another comment here from the Friendly Grim says, "Carry an iron horseshoe with you in your bag. Fae don't like iron, and it'll work even with a human man's unwanted physical attentions if you hit him with said bag. Horseshoes are heavy." Winky face. Stormwing Zero responds to that as well with "LOL, yes, it makes a good heavy mass weapon for both races. Idiots." For both races, idiots. You keep talking about them like a race. This is...
You gotta move away from that.
Yeah, it's almost like an Always Sunny character who just can't seem to get their vocabulary right. That original commenter does say, "Yup, it's witchcraft at its best." Huh.
Do you get just from the vibes of the story, do you think the original poster has sexual intentions with this creature?
Well, no, they literally said they're also in a relationship, so they want to be respectful to their own relationship.
Is it cheating? This is no longer the podcast where we teach you how to live in someone else's house without them knowing. This is a new podcast that I'm coming up with, and it's the ethical relationship status between interdimensional and extraterrestrial.
What you're looking for, they go over this in the new King of the Hill season, but it's called...
Do they really?
Ethical,
what?
Not literally with what we're talking about here. It's ethical.
I was like, man, this show's different.
It's ethical non-monogamy is what you're talking about here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can sleep with other people. I'm fine with that. As long as those people are real small and they got wings.
Yeah, as long as they're fairies, it doesn't matter. Well,
this one's described more like... You gotta clarify what that means, though.
Well, in this context, although they describe this fae more like the elves from Lord of the Rings.
Sure. It is so important when studying fairies for this episode, is that the word fairies, like fairy, is kind of a catch-all for everything that is vaguely humanoid and not human, right? Like goblins or brownies or hobs, stuff like that. Like those are all considered, like leprechauns, all considered fairies. But what we're talking about has an obvious, like, everyone denotes what we are describing as like a pixie.
Yeah. Let's see. The OP does respond to that horseshoe comment with, "I'll try to be on the lookout for an iron horseshoe." It shouldn't be too hard to find one online.
What? Oh, online, sure.
Yeah, online. It wouldn't be hard for me. I live, like I said, there's all these mansions over here, and there are a lot of horse ranches. So I could probably walk up to one of them and be like, "Hey, can I get a used horseshoe?"
Isn't just as a trade, isn't the person that makes horseshoes called a ferryman?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Who makes horseshoes? Yeah. Oh, not a ferryman. Sorry. Horseshoe makers are also called farriers.
Oh, okay. Farriers.
Interesting.
Let's see. The Friendly Grim responds to the OP saying they'll keep an eye out with, "Try your local stables. They should either have one to give away or can put you in touch with someone who does." Yeah.
There's a Best Buy. There's a Home Depot. And there's your local stables.
Let's see if there's any more interesting comments here before we end the episode. From a sense deleted user, they say, "It's always best to keep cautious and try to know before you act. Try approaching, but carefully observe your and his reactions and be ready to run if anything will make you feel suspicious." This person is literally telling a child to approach a stranger.
hey, go ahead, follow your instincts, and if you're wrong, run away. Have you tried running?
Another since deleted user says, hopefully he isn't trying to lure you. I've heard stories of them trying to deduct, lure people before.
Deduct.
I think they mean abduct.
Abduct is probably
Yeah.
what they were going for.
And then last comment on here. Seems like you are the one attracted to him and almost crashed. He is probably just a friendly fae. Or just a dude hanging out. This could literally be Ash from the Dirty 22 just hanging out at a park.
Oh, just hanging out in a public trail.
This is the second time I've mentioned Ash on this podcast. Listeners, go check out the Dirty 22 if you're into D&D based
Yeah.
podcast.
D&D live play show.
Well, all right. I guess we'll end this story by saying, don't approach strangers. Just
Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
Just keep riding
I
your
did
bike
find
past them.
that person's subreddit, and I have in stories I have posted just a picture that they shared into cursed images, the r/cursed images.
This is a picture of someone in a bed, in a kind of a seductive position, kind of like motioning for you to join them in bed while wearing a giant Elmo costume.
You did say someone. It's pretty clear that's Elmo.
Kind of big for Elmo, yeah. Seems to have grown a couple of feet. This was the OP from my last story?
Yeah. The OP
were you
from that
trying to
last story
find if
also does some art, does some doodles and art.
And their profile
Pretty cool stuff.
is marked not safe for work, so I guess I can see why. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot on here. But yeah, they do a lot of art. I wish they would have drawn what this fairy looked like, or what this fae looked like, I guess.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, all right. Do we have any Ask X for this episode?
We have 3 Ask X. I have posted them in general.
All right. The first one, these are all going to be fairy themed questions.
Yes.
So the first one here says, what is the difference between a fantasy book and a fairy tale one?
So just in your personal opinion,
Yeah.
what designates a fairy tale?
Well, a fairy tale has to be fucked up, right? Like all the original ones.
I guess historically, yeah.
Pretty fucked up storylines, whereas fantasy can just be anything fantastical, right? Like Lord of the Rings is technically fantasy. Harry Potter could be considered fantasy, I guess. I guess nowadays a fairy tale would just be more, just be a fantasy tale, but I guess they have to end happily, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, so like fairy tales, just in like the historical sense, are mostly Germanic, and they have a very, very clear message and warning, right? They teach kids a lesson.
A fucked up lesson, but yeah.
A very fucked up lesson that usually involves them getting eaten in some way.
A lot of murder, a lot of coercion, and a lot of sexual assault in those original fairy tales.
Avoid strangers, avoid the dark woods. Wolves are bad, probably.
Okay, next question here. If you could be anything, a vampire, a fairy, etc., what would you choose and why?
I've asked a question similar to this on Ask X, but I can't exactly remember what you'd said.
Oh, I can't even remember the question. I think a vampire. I think a vampire would be cool.
Okay.
But, more like the energy vampire from
from What We Do in
what
the
we
Shadows.
do in the shadows. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be that
valid.
annoying, but I also don't want to like survive off of blood, you know. But to get to live forever would be kind of cool until you just decide you don't want to. But yeah, I think I'd go vampire.
Vampire, easy choice. That's good. Yeah.
And then the last question here. What does the tooth fairy do with all the children's teeth? Now, I'm not laughing because of the question here, but one of the stories I was gonna pick was somebody who said, I saw the tooth fairy when I was a kid. And it was very similar to the comment that we read here, where the woman saw the glowing fairy, but her mother didn't. And in this guy's story, he goes to bed in his mom's bed. He wakes up, he sees a glowing woman floating over him, and he knows it's the tooth fairy, so he closes his eyes. And when he wakes up, they're gone, and he's got money under his pillow. And he says that he knows it's not his mom because he was sleeping with his mom and she was holding him when he saw this. All the comments in the story are, hey, the tooth fairy is not real. But he does end the story by saying, now, in my 20s, I know the tooth fairy doesn't exist, so I'm guessing I might have saw a ghost or something. But every single person in the comments is like, hey, I hate to break it to you, but the tooth fairy is not real. What does the tooth fairy do with all the teeth? They build all their furniture with it.
Oh, okay.
Now, they have an excess of teeth with the amount of people in the world. So they must live in a spacious apartment.
Right, we're thinking like Winchester Mansion. The Tooth Fairy is just constantly building new rooms, filling it with new teeth furniture, teeth TV. You got a teeth chair, line up a few teeth, whittle it down a bit. You got a teeth couch.
Teeth bed.
The imagery of this is kind of freaking me out.
Well, okay, I guess that's going to do it for the episode for us.
Yeah, that is going to have to do it for this fairy-themed episode. Thank you all for listening. I had a great time. It's good to be back. Good to be doing this podcast again. If any of you have any supernatural stories of your own, you can submit them to us for this show down in the comments or to our Reddit. That's PONDPOD.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying the show, you can do a couple of things for us. You can leave us a rating and a review. You could tell a friend, or you could check out some of our other stuff. We also do a podcast where we watch movies and pitch ideas for sequels that nobody asked for on Sequel Factory.
Mm-hmm.
You can also catch Mitch to R on the Dirty 22 with a couple of our friends. And so we've been a Paranormal Dudes, ever in need of stories to intrigue, perplex, maybe even frighten. So remember, if you can't explain it, it was fairies. It was fairies, or there's somebody living in your walls, man. So keep an eye out on your food.
It's the scariest one you've done so far. If you can't explain it, there's someone in your walls.
I'm so sorry. Until next time, though, stay tuned and stay haunted.
We're gonna go to the bathroom.